Hi there. It's very wonderful to meet your friend Mia, and it's very good to see you again. We're going to be doing our new chord for the day, a D major. This completes our cage system, C-A-G-E-D. So you know C major. You know how to play C major with the second fingering. Our next is A. You know how to play the A with all three fingers, even your fourth finger, but we don't have to. All three fingers, making sure that we play not the lowest E string here, but the A string as being the lowest note. And then we have our finger flatly covering the fourth string, third string, and second string, which would cover your E, A, and C sharp. And then you also know how to play your C, A, G. So your G looks like this. And I know we're having a little bit of hard trouble with the other one, maybe playing it like this, and then putting our pinky down here because your hands just aren't big enough yet. However, if you keep stretching and keep moving it, you eventually will be able to get this. An easy way to figure out how to do that is just to see your E, and your E as being two of the same, playing at the first fret, and first fret being the Fs, F sharp, G, G, just like our G chord, G sharp, A, so on and so forth. So you can quite literally go and work on building muscle memory just to get those two same notes. That's for your G. So C-A-G-E, you know your E major is being a G sharp on the first fret, a B with your second finger on the second fret, and then an E on the second fret right above the B fret. After we do that, we're going to be moving through E major, and then we're going to be taking our first finger off for the G sharp, putting our second finger where the first finger was, pushing this over from the E to the B, and then bringing our pinky onto for the E major. So we know C, A, G, E, and today's is going to be D major. We're going to be on the second fret. We're going to take our first finger and play on the third string, the A note. So basically, here's our first string E, second string B, third string G. On the G string, we're going to have G, G sharp, A. We're going to leave our finger there, A. Our third finger is going to go on the actual D note because we've got C, C sharp, B, C, C sharp, D. So we've got our A and our D, and that lastly leaves one more note for our triad. When we're building it, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, G, A. Get rid of our second and fourth. We've got D, F sharp, and A, which leaves us A, D, and then this finger would be F sharp. So when we have these notes and we want to get a minor in every major chord we know, we can take that major and make it a minor by flattening the third. D major's third is F sharp. To flatten that, we take the finger down a half step to the first fret. When we do that, we basically get a tone which makes la. It flattens that third scale degree, thusly making the sound of that chord a little bit more melancholy, if you will. When it's melancholy, it just has this overall feeling of being kind of like floating. Sorry, quick tune. There we go. It has this idea of floating over the top. So, what we want to do with the C major, the A major, the G major, E major, and the D major is to play all of those in a secondary fingering. Take off the first finger, put the second finger where the first was, put the third where the second was, and bring the pinky as the fourth finger onto the fretboard where the third one was. If we could do all of our chords using another fingering, we haven't really learned that one, but that's E, F, F sharp, G. That G is the same as playing this G or this G. It's just playing a bar chord, B-A-R-R-E, bar chord, C-H-O-R-D. So, what we have here are the first five. The only other two notes that I need to add to the equation, use the other two shapes for those chords. And what we'll do is we'll explain how to derive those chords out of those five shapes next week. But what I'd like to start you on is doing scales next week. And they are all derived out of understanding the basic theme between what a major and what a minor is. So, I'm going to show you your minors for the chords you already know and explain why it's easy for you at this point. You know the C major as having these notes, C, E, and G as my triad. C on the A string on the 3rd fret, E on the 2nd fret on the D string, G is the 5th on the open strum. That's an octave, unison, but it's an octave note. So a C major, to make a C minor, we'd have to flatten this, the 3rd, to this. So if I play this, and I now have this note, that's weird. It's just hard to play that way. So what happens is we generally don't play a C minor with moving the 3rd in that fashion. What we do is we play a bar chord and we flatten this bar chord a half step to give us the minor, and that comes out of this shape, A major, which you already know. So A major is your C sharp right here, your A and your E. When you play A, E, and C sharp, you get a major A. If you drop this down a half step and play an A minor, that A minor, when played in secondary position, can be moved up and down the fretboard. So, when we learned our rhythm exercises, they started like this. And here's what I'll do. I'll show it to you in E major, and I'll show you why it's important to know an E major to make an F major, a half step above. E major is 1st finger on the 1st fret on the G string, the 3rd string. E, B, G. This is a G sharp. So E, B, G. This is an F, this is a C, and this is a G sharp. We're going to want to keep our finger on the G sharp, play the B and the E for an E major. That's our E major triad. E, G sharp, and B. What happens when we take off our 1st finger, put our 2nd where our 1st was, put our 3rd to where our 2nd was, and bring on the pinky just to play the same chord? When we move it up a half step and we bar that chord, we're making that same E major shape, but we're just moving the fretboard nut up a half step. So our new brick wall is right there. If we did it 2 frets, brick wall, so on and so forth. So you can play that E major shape right here as long as you put your finger down. You can play it right here as long as you put your finger down. Thusly, E major, F sharp major, G major, G sharp major, A major, B flat major, B major, C sharp major, D major, D flat, E flat major, E major, 12 frets up is an octave. Just like do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. I could go linearly up this way and do all sharps on the same string, the E string, or I could diversify. And since my Spidey exercises tell me that 5 notes up, is the same next note. I'm having a heck of a time staying in tune. So when we see these notes going up, we could play either linearly all the way up the strings, or we could go over the fretboards. And what tends to happen is we become faster players when we have going up the fretboard rather than. It's kind of hard that way. So, learning the G major and the G minor depends on being able to play the E major and the E minor by getting rid of the 3rd scale degree. So next week we're going to go over all of our majors. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A. And we're going to learn how to play those all in minors. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A. Hear how those are distinguishably different? A little bit more eerie and dark and melancholy. So we're going to go over those next week, as well as talk about how we get do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, major, do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, minor scales. All right? It's good seeing you. We'll see you next week. Aloha!